This is A's Cast Live, your comprehensive look at the Athletics.
Swung on, drive to left field. Did he do it? He did! 4 home runs for Nick Kurtz. He is 6 for 6.
Swing and a drive, deep to left. The A's take the lead in grand fashion.
And 29 other MLB clubs.
Stretch of the pitch to Cal. Swing and a drive, deep to right field. There it is, number 60, the modern-day Bambino.
Join us as we take you inside the baseball universe from humidors to walk-off dingers.
Now swung at a high, deep drive to right. Smith is back. He will not even watch it. And the A's win it on a walk-off by Nick Kurtz.
We have you covered. Spend your afternoon with us, only on A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
Welcome to A's Cast Live from Peoria, Arizona. Yes, we are back in the Valley of the Sun. Chris Townsend alongside Cody Elias as the Athletics will take on the San Diego Padres today. And we got a great show for you. Chris Caray is to my right. After we get done with A's Cast Live, Chris and I will have the broadcast for you coming up here on A's Cast, KSTE, the A's radio network. We will bring you all the action. Commander Cody back in Northern California. What do we have for the audience today?
So we have our interview from down in spring training with Dave Stewart, A's Hall of Famer and 3-time World Series champion that we're going to play today. We have A's reliever Justin Sterner, who we haven't got a chance to play this spring training, and then we'll have your interview with Jacob Lopez, who's scheduled to make his spring debut, according to Martin Gallegos, this upcoming Sunday in Arizona against the Dodgers while we're in Las Vegas. So Dave Stewart, Justin Sterner, Jacob Lopez, and then Chris Caray will join us towards the end of the broadcast.
Well, Chris Caray's here now. Caray, where are you going? Oh, the good doctor, Dr. Kern, is setting up here. So if you're able to watch on YouTube or Instagram or Twitter, X, you're getting to see Chris Caray in the background. If you're just hearing this means nothing to you. I'll be quick. The good doctor, Dr. Kern here, is setting up for the broadcast as we speak. So you're actually seeing what goes on getting ready for a Major League broadcast. I can turn the camera for you so you can see beautiful Peoria, the field here, the complex. This is the complex where they share with the Mariners. The Mariners and the Padres share. You could say it's the no champion complex. You could say it's one of the most gagging complexes in all of professional sports, as Seattle Mariners are still literally one of the only teams in all of major sports to have never played in their championship. And we don't consider they're not expansion anymore. As people, a lot of people like, oh, it's an expansion team. If you look around the NFL, you look around the NBA, you look around the MLB, the National Hockey League, how many teams have never played in their championship? Ever. How many? There's not many. Now, with football, people think Super Bowls, but no. There was a thing before the Super Bowl. There was an NFL championship. So even like the Cleveland Browns with Otto Graham, talk about being a historian. Chris Caray hates that. Otto Graham won a bunch of titles, by the way. Jim Brown won titles. So the Cleveland Browns won titles. The Mariners have never been to the World Series. The Padres have only been to 2 World Series. They got blown out in both. So there's not a whole lot of championship pedigree at this facility. You mentioned we're going to talk to Dave Stewart today. As I landed last night at Sky Harbor and made my way over to the Omni, my Uber driver was telling me a story about having driving Dave Stewart in his car during the World Series last year. As he was listening to the World Series, and then Dave was listening to it on his phone. And you always love to hear this because you know it's so true. It was him talking about how he didn't realize, because when it comes on Uber, it's David Stewart, so you wouldn't think about it. But he said Dave got in. Once he started talking, he knew it was Dave Stewart. And he said, was the nicest guy ever. You love to hear that from regular people who have interactions with legends to know what kind of people they are. Our own Dave Stewart, wherever he goes, it doesn't matter. You'll always hear what a great person, just what a great human being Dave Stewart is, Cody.
Yeah, and I mean, we got a chance. I mean, I've gotten a chance along with you to know. I mean, you've worked with Stu a lot more than I have, but being around Stu, just the type of person he is, and what he's doing for the organization, giving back and being a coach at spring training and helping a lot of our young pitchers. And he's very high on some of them, like Gage Jump, who pitched very well yesterday. So having the relationship that you do and that we do as a team with Ace Cast and with the organization is a huge asset for us to dive into his wealth of knowledge from all his years pitching in the major leagues and being a pitching coach and a general manager. And he's done everything in the game but being an owner. So having a relationship with Stu was huge for us, and I'm really appreciative of that for us as an overall group.
I'm glad you brought up Gage Jump because I saw something yesterday on the airplane that made me realize I'm not going to criticize anybody. It's just going to be an observation, okay? But before we do that, I need to apologize to Henry Bolte today. Permission to apologize to my guy, Henry Bolte.
Permission granted.
Thank you for the permission. Okay. If you've listened to this program, I am a really big fan of Henry Bolte. So he's a kid that kind of grew up in our hood, essentially, went to Palo Alto High School. We've known him since he was drafted, a second-round pick out of Palo Alto. Look at Dr. Kern just getting right in. Dr. Kern just goes, I don't care you're doing a live show. I'm more important than you are, and I respect that. By the way, Doctor, my lower back, I've been playing a lot of golf. I need you to look at that before we get out of here. How is Arizona State? Things good? Wait, look, they can see you. Hi, guys. Can you hear him, Cody?
I heard him a little bit because of the AirPods. It's hard to hear him.
Oh, it's through my AirPods. Never mind. He's also works at Arizona State, the good doctor. Okay, so Henry Bolte is somebody that when he came to us as an 18-year-old, he came walking up. He looked like this physical Adonis. The body's a big kid, super strong, but he looked like he had the face of a 12-year-old. It was kind of funny. Well, now Henry Bolte is grown up. He looks more. His body's always looked like he could play football, but now he's facially has grown into his body. He is somebody that is going to play in the athletics outfield. I think there is no question that. He's 6'3", says 195. I'm thinking he's over 2 bills, but he's a specimen. Power, speed, he's got it all. He has been my man crush for many, many years with the A's, and I talk about him a lot. And we've had him on. Wherever he goes, we follow because I think he's going to be an everyday player. Eventually, I think there's going to be an outfield of Sodi, Butler, and Bolte on a full-time basis. But with that said, my apologies to Henry Bolte today because Leo DeVries is in the lineup. I've never seen Leo play. Like, if there is anything that I want to see today, it's Leo DeVries, the wonder kid, right? We have this player that potentially could be a star. Now, you already have Nick Kurtz in the lineup. He's going to be a star. I think Henry Bolte can be an everyday player. Langeliers is one of the better catchers in baseball. You got Rooker. You got Muncy, by the way. Muncy hit a home run. I told you he'd lead the A's in home runs this spring. Jeff McNeil, 2-time All-Star. But Leo DeVries is the type of player that you could look up 15 years from now, has an MVP or two, has been to 8 All-Star games, and you're saying could be in the Hall of Fame someday. That's what we believe his skill set is. And this is my first opportunity. We have talked so much about Leo DeVries, who's the number 4 overall prospect in all of baseball, our number 1 prospect. People couldn't believe in our little bubble where it was like Mason Miller because he throws 104. Real baseball people are like, you're going to give up a kid who has the ability to be an everyday star for a reliever who could blow out his arm at any moment? You're crazy. Well, that's what we got. And today is our first look at Leo DeVries, and I'm really, really excited about it. Because I've seen video, we've seen endless video, but now I get to see him. I get to see the size, I get to see the skill set, and Leo's going to be playing shortstop today. So he's going to be in the place that he's most comfortable. We found out recently that his dad was a hooper, and that he's a hooper. So you like to know that, because if you were a point guard, you got to think you got skill sets of, you got good feet, you got good vision, all the things you need to be a quality middle infielder. Now the possibility for Leo Vries is that he is going to grow and he is going to get bigger, which we see. And I can't remember who gave us this comp. I think it was at the winter meetings where someone said he could be like Chipper Jones. Where Chipper Jones just basically, as a high school kid, was a wonder kid, first overall pick in the draft of my high school draft. And Chipper and I are the same age. We both came out in 1990. He was drafted in the first round. I was not drafted at all. I was going to be a college guy, not good enough to be drafted. But Chipper basically grew out of shortstop and they ended up moving to third. And, of course, Larry would go out to left field and return to third base. But it comes to that point where, because of your size, and they're always drafting new shortstops, and maybe guys who are more athletic than you, have more rhythm than you, there's no problem if you're a bat first guy to move you over to third base. So we're going to see what Leo projects long term, but I'm just excited to see him for the first time with my own eyes, because so many times all we see is video. We read a lot of reports. I like to be able to see it for myself and be able to see what this kid looks like up close. What does he have? I can't wait to see today.
Yeah, I mean, we've only ever seen the highlights that we saw from, our buddies in Lansing with Jesse Goldberg-Strassler and the videos that they've sent over to us. And then some of the stuff we've seen from Midland and then his days with the Padres organization. So to see him today, and he's having a decent spring. He's hitting 300 in spring training and 10 at bats. So that's good to see. And then obviously, all the hype and everything around him, there's going to be a lot more eyeballs maybe on this game than normal. Maybe more people show up to the game to see a guy like Leo play and a guy like Henry Bolte in the lineup. So it'll be good for you to have first eye.
Cody, slow down. It's Monday in Peoria.
I know it's kind of far.
Slow down.
I looked to see how far it was from Mesa. It's like 45 minutes from Mesa.
Chris Caray can't hear you, Chris. He was just like, well, you got Leo and you got Bolte live. You got a lot of people showing up to watch. It's Monday in Peoria, Arizona, Cody. Slow down.
I'm just trying to hype it up. I'm trying to. We're always selling here, right? Is that what
there's not extra security here in Peoria, Arizona on a Monday because there are prospects here.
Well, you should still be excited, and as should Chris.
I'm excited,
and everyone else.
I'm excited.
Hopefully, I don't think the game for the Padres is on television, if I'm not mistaken. So I guess I'll just have to listen to you and Chris Caray on A's Cast or Talk 650 KSD if you're in Northern California.
It's been very interesting, because we live in a time now where we expect to see everything, right? And I have to explain to everybody that one of the reasons why we don't see everything is that it costs money. And number two is teams want you to come down and go to the games. If every game was on TV, you'd make it really easy to say, do I want to make the investment to drive down, fly down, get hotels, get tickets? So I think people need to realize also there's a reason why every single game is not on. You see a lot of the Grapefruit League games will be on, but they have something that's different than we have out west. They have a bunch of people sitting in freezing weather who can't wait to get out of it. So when you look at the majority of those teams that play in Florida, they're in cold weather cities where people are like, get me the hell out of here. I don't care if the game's on TV or not. Versus the Cactus League, you take the Cincinnatis and Clevelands and Chicagos out of it. Everybody's already in warm weather. It's already beautiful in Northern California and Southern California, right? Look at all the teams that are here. Anaheim, Dodgers, Padres, Athletics, Mariners, Giants. We're already in warm weather. So if we're showing you all the games on TV, why would you want to come down? It's a lot different when you're dealing with like Cubs fans. It wasn't that long ago in Chicago, it was like minus 13 degrees. They can't wait to get the hell out. Well, it's not like that if you're sitting in LA or Anaheim. If you're in Anaheim and it's 85 degrees, which it's been really warm in Southern California, it's not like the Angels broadcasters can say, hey, get out of the cold and come down to beautiful Arizona, to Tempe, to Diablo Stadium, right? Diablo Stadium to see the Angels. You're like, Bro, I'm in Huntington Beach. It's beautiful. Why do I need to leave? I got the game on TV. I always thought it was ridiculous that the Angels showed every single game on TV. You're basically telling your fans, you don't need to come down. You just watch it on TV. So for all the people complaining to me, well, why isn't this on TV? Because they want you to come down and experience it.
Well, according to the MLB at Bat app or MLB.com, the game is on MLB Network today, apparently nationally. So if you want to see the game.
What they do is somebody has a camera here on. There's not like a TV truck here in the Padres. They'll put a camera on, and then they'll pick up one of our broadcasts, I guess, today.
Looks like it's the Padres are going to be putting it on their website because they're streaming all their games. So it looks like the Padres have it on TV, and you'll get a firsthand look at Padres first baseman Nick Castellanos today.
Well, that's definitely one of the keys to the game is hit it to the stiff at first.
Yeah, because we already know how bad he was defensively in the outfield. Now he's going to be at first base. Oh boy.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of bad mojo supposedly around him after listening to what happened in Philadelphia. And when you've got a veteran team like the Philadelphia Phillies who believe, and they still do have a chance to win a World Series. They're a very talented group. They definitely are a group that has a. Can we not have those headphones on? Because I'm getting essentially an echo with me. It's a veteran team that still can win, right? Philly's got a tremendous amount of talent. They've got a high payroll. They're one of the big players. And when you're one of those players and Nicholas Castellanos leaves there and people go, that's an addition by subtraction, that should say a lot about kind of who they think the player is. So Padres are going to take Padres. I mean, I can get into the Padres situation. They're up for sale right now. A lot of people, I know a lot of our fans probably don't care. They're actually one of the interesting stories in baseball because they were the team that a lot of fan bases want you to be. They were the team that we want ownership to go all in no matter what the financials are, right? Because there's always this belief that everybody's making so much money and I don't care. All I want to do is win a championship, spend. That's what their old owner, Peter Seidler, did. And unfortunately, Peter Seidler passed away from cancer. He battled cancer multiple times. It's really a tragic story, and he really wanted to win. And he wanted to win for the city of San Diego. And everybody loved it because here was an owner who was backing contracts with his own personal wealth. How many championships did they win, Cody?
They made the NLCS once.
Under who?
Bob Melvin.
Under the great Bob Melvin. And that was it. And all of a sudden, Peter Seidler passes away. So then there's a fight for control of the Padres, his two brothers versus his widow. In the end, the two brothers win it. They win the fight. They try and keep this thing going. Now, if you don't follow the Padres, I totally understand. But the fact that you're signing Fernando Tatis and Manny Machado to not one but two large contracts extensions, Xander Bogaerts, which was one that people really did not understand. Why are you signing him to this contract? They were throwing money at Aaron Judge. They've thrown money at everybody. Who will take the money? And once again, the fan base loved it, right? The fan base is, and all fan bases just think that we should just spend. Well, what ends up happening? They lose their television contract, like a lot of teams have, and the television contract wasn't that big. Peter Seidler passes away. The True brothers realize after 1 year, this is not financially sustainable. 1 year in, this is financially not. So they have put the team on the market. So now we got a bunch of people out there who supposedly want to buy the Padres. So you're a team that's in a large city but a small market, because we still, for some reason, worry about markets in baseball. You have zero television contract. You've got these lengthy contracts. Luckily, you had a career attendance, I think it was 3.4 million last year, something like that. But it just shows you attendance, as great as we talk about it, isn't the end all be all. The television money, the national TV money, your local TV money still plays. That's why the Dodgers have what they have, because they have the best television deal. So the Padres have had to really rethink. And what happens with the San Diego is they become very top heavy, and the rest of their team is not that great. So all of a sudden you start thinking of our old friend, Miguel who?
Andujar.
Well, around here is just Miguel Andujar. It's pretty interesting. Around Padre camp, he's Miguel Andujar. He's not Miguel Andujar. But yes, they bring in guys like that, Castellanos, and they're very top heavy because they sign these contracts that all the fans love. And then all of a sudden they're like, can they still compete? Because they have realized they were way above their skis when it came to financials. And now they're kind of hoping for the, who's the billionaire that's going to come in? Here's their hope, that somebody's going to come in, spend whatever. I don't know what the price tag will be on the team. It'll be well over $2 billion. And they will just spend and lose money and hopefully continue to compete with the Dodgers. That's like the hope. But a lot of times teams come in and the owners come in and they see the books and they go, whoa, this is not a way to run a business.
Yeah, and one of the reported guys interested in buying the team is Drew Brees, former Chargers quarterback when they were in San Diego and New Orleans Saint, NFL Hall of Famer, along with one of the clothing companies. I think it's Peoria, the owner of that company. They're one of the guys, a group of guys, or they're like guys part of a group of people that want to buy the Padres. So you see some interest in the team and kind of resurrect them and hopefully save them because with all the financial stuff they're going through, and it's disappointing because you saw what the Padres put together the last few years, and they had all that swag with Machado and Tatis and Juan Soto, and you thought they thought the one year they toppled the Dodgers in the postseason that this was going to be their division for years to come, and they haven't done anything since. So they're bringing in guys like Castellanos and Duhar and others to try to help build their lineup to compete with the Dodgers. But the Dodgers obviously are the best team in baseball and gonna you think run away at the NL West, but Padres, Giants, Diamondbacks are all going to battle for that second place in the NL West and maybe a wild card spot. So,
well, if you're an A's fan and you look at the future of the A's, these guys are the example of what you don't want to be. And when you start looking at the bad contracts like Yu Darvish, Cronenworth, there's all Musgrove,
Bogarts.
These are I already mentioned Bogarts. So these are all off the top of my head. What did it get you? You were kind of like the desperate, I'm going to spend money on people who will just take it. And A.J. Preller has been a mad scientist. I think A.J. Preller's good. I wouldn't want him as my GM, but I think he's good for baseball because he gives us stuff to talk about, and we're in the content business. And I do think he's like a drunken Billy Bean, because Billy Bean was like the riverboat gambler of riverboat gamblers that would make moves. Preller's like the drunken Billy Bean and will just like unbelievable at just changing his roster, trading everybody, trading every prospect, rebuilding it. It's never amounted to anything other than an NLCS trip. But he's had over 10 years and he's now got a contract extension. I mean, he's gone for it years before this. Remember when he went after like Matt Kemp and he went after those guys? I mean, but yeah, this is not who you want to be, because what happens when you go out and you sign all these crazy extensions, guys get old. But you know what doesn't get old? The extensions and the contracts, because they're guaranteed. This is, I don't know what baseball will look like going forward after the CBA, but it shows when you sign a guy and he's signed till he's 40, 41, 42, you want to get rid of him, but you can't get rid of that contract. The players age, but the contracts stay the same. So what the Padres are going to look like in the next couple of years, I don't know. But I just know that I never want to be a team without payroll flexibility. Payroll flexibility is always great. And I don't want to be a team with a bunch of aging, expensive guys, because that is death. And it's really hard to get away from that. So what you see here in Peoria is what you never want to be in Las Vegas. I know that's pretty harsh, but and hopefully whatever comes about the next CBA doesn't allow teams to be like this. Because that's what's refreshing about the National Football League. You can get away from contracts. You can move on from as a franchise and not be just killed by contracts. And when you talk about rebuilds, it's in the NFL, rebuilds are just, are you smart? Do you draft well? And can you sign some guys and win football games? Rebuilds in baseball, my God, you look at some of these teams and you're just like, it's death. It's absolute death. And you can't escape bad contracts because they're all guaranteed. You can't there's no such thing as a yet, as well, it's a salary cap hit. You can survive salary cap hits in the NFL and still win. These things are, these contracts that you have about Albert Pujols' contract is one of the greatest examples of how bad that was. And our friends with the Angels can tell you all about it. And do you think, Cody, they're all thrilled to see him show up at spring training every year and he's getting $1 million to do it?
Probably not, no, because you know what you got from that they've signed some really bad contracts over the years.
Really bad.
Anthony Rendon's on line too. That's just a couple, not including Josh Hamilton.
Not next to his friend Josh. It's C.J. Wilson, his friend Josh Hamilton.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, but hey, by the way, did you see the article on Trout? He's running fast again. Everybody, Kurt Suzuki's loving it. Oh my God.
Talk to me when he's still playing games after April.
Talk about another bad contract extension.
It looked good at first, and then it just went like that.
400
went down.
$435 million contract extension, and the guy can't even play 60 games. I love what we're doing with the A's. I love these extensions. They have been very, very good. It's been a lot of fun. All right, who do you want to play first?
Stu's the longest one, so we could save him. Let's do Justin Sterner.
Well, why don't we do Stu since we got Chris Carey here and we got the other guys?
Yeah, fine. Let's do Stu then. We can do Stu next. He's 14.
Once again, main thing today to listen to is Leo DeVries is here, and I get to see Leo DeVries for the first time. Chris, have you seen Leo play yet? Wow, he's just not very enthusiastic whatsoever. So the play-by-play guy will be a stiff today on the broadcast, but I will be excited today here on the A's Radio Network. Coming up next, A's Hall of Famer, 3-time World Series champion, the great Dave Stewart, right here on A's Cast Live.
The time is now. Grab your sunglasses, A's gear, and get ready for some fun in the sun. Spring training is back as the Athletics get ready for the 2026 season. Now's the time to make plans to catch us in Mesa, Arizona, and enjoy the sunshine of your family and friends. Grab your tickets for the best seats at the lowest prices as your green and gold take on the Dodgers, Giants, Cubs, Padres, and more at Ho-Ho-Cam Stadium. Don't wait. Get your tickets at athletics.com/spring. That's athletics.com/spring. Secure your spot for priority access to 2028 season tickets at the A's Ballpark in Las Vegas for just $19.01. The amount honors the founding year of the Athletics franchise in 1901. By joining the priority list, you'll get an early opportunity to grab season tickets before they go on sale to the public, while also supporting youth baseball and softball programs across Southern Nevada. To secure your spot, visit athletics.com/Vegas.
Unlock offers and receive exclusive in-game features by downloading the MLB Ballpark app for iPhone and Android today. Plus, get the latest information on game time, schedules, and more. The A's YouTube page is your go-to destination for A's video content. Get access to great highlights, exclusive behind-the-scenes content, classic games, A's Cast Live, and more. Visit youtube.com/athletics.
Baseball is back, and big league action has never been more affordable. For a limited time, grab your tickets to see the A's in West Sacramento for just $8. That's right, only $8 for select games this April and May. Catch the showdowns against the Royals, Cardinals, and American League West rivals, the Mariners and the Rangers. Whether it's a midweek getaway or an afternoon at the park, don't miss your chance to see your A's for less than the price of a ballpark snap. Tickets are moving fast. Head to athletics.com, that's athletics.com, to secure your seats today. American League Rookie of the Year Nick Kurtz joined Chris Townsend on A's Cast Live to discuss his historic 2025 campaign and becoming the first Athletic to win the award since 2009.
Yeah, it was awesome. When it kind of got announced, we were all in Hawaii together. Willie was in the same room as me when we were on the show, so that was really cool to kind of celebrate as a team.
When you look back, what do you think of when you look back in this Rookie of the Year season? You had the monstrous game in Houston, historic game. What are the things that you really reflected on?
Just kind of the whole year as a whole. When you look at any kind of season, you have the parts where you feel really good at the plate. You have the days where you feel really bad, and then the majority is you're just trying to do what you can do that day to put the ball in play and get a base hit. It's not a good day if you don't get the team win as well. So that's kind of what I've reflected the most about is, yeah, I did all these great things, but it's got to lead to October. And that's the most important thing.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics.
A's Cast Live continues from the studio. Here's Chris Townsend.
So what's interesting about getting down here last night, and I've been following it, the weather, is the fact that Arizona right now is just fast forwarding through spring into kind of an early summer. I don't know how long it's going to last, but it's going to be in the 90s today. And they've been experiencing that in the 90s, which is kind of crazy. That's hot because you're not used to it yet, right? Because the last time we were here in Arizona, which was what? We were here, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah,
I think we left freezing.
Yeah, I think we left on February 20th, so it was about 2 weeks ago, or a week and a half.
If you remember our first show, it was raining our first show. And in the morning when we were getting there early and interviewing all the players, it was really chilly. It was down into the 30s, low 40s. During the day, it was in the 50s. They went from high of 61, hanging in the 50s to immediately 90 degrees. So you haven't had that spring because usually when you're down here, the good doctor, usually it's around 75 at this time of the year. Yeah, usually it's around 75. It's shorts, it's polos. Now we're hitting right into 90s, that's a quick turnaround. And so from a player standpoint, you really have to monitor the players because these guys show up. They're coming from different parts of the country. And you're putting them out there and immediately it's 90 degrees. 90's hot. Now, when you're in 90 every day, our bodies adapt to whatever the weather is. If you're in humidity, if you're in cold, we adapt to it. But when it's heat and you're not used to it and it's all of a sudden 90 to your body, it feels because the other day it's happened to us in Northern California where all of a sudden we went from chilly weather to now it's 75. Well, all of a sudden it feels oh my God. So if you haven't seen 90 degrees since last summer, that 90 degrees probably makes it feel more like 100 degrees. So you got to monitor that with the players in these next few days because it's sizzling. I think everybody would understand that. And I know people go, oh my God, you guys are complaining about the heat. No, but for players, if you haven't been in 90 degree heat and all of a sudden it's 90, your body feels like it's way hotter than that.
Yeah, I mean we've saw even in over the weekend in the last couple of days in Northern California that it's been one of the warmest. I saw the other day it was one of the warmest days ever in history for Northern California. We're here in where we live in the South Bay, it was close to 80, and San Francisco and all that, it was even hotter. Monterey was 85 degrees the other day. So now being in Arizona and seeing the weather, changing from when we were there when it was raining and overcast, and I feel like that's happened to us the last few years to where it's 90. That's a drastic change, but it's going to just get worse, I think, as time goes on in Arizona. I don't know. We only go for spring training when it's not hot. So when people ask, when they ask you all the time, what's it like in the summer? You don't know because you're never there.
Yeah, I've been asked for many years how I like Arizona, and I tell people I love Arizona. And the first thing they respond is, well, what about when it's 115? I don't know. I've never been here when it's 115. I've only been here during spring training and football season. Football season. I drove by Glendale, the big stadium. What's it called? What's the Cardinals stadium called?
Isn't it State Farm?
State Farm. I've worked a few games there with the Raiders. We came down every year for preseason, and then we played the Cardinals during the regular season. Beautiful. I mean, the facilities in Arizona are all fantastic. I know they're looking for a new baseball stadium right now, but if you ever get a chance to go to a football game there, whether it's the Cardinals, it's the Fiesta Bowl, It's a pretty cool venue. It's out in Glendale, which I know is a little bit out, but an absolute great facility if you ever get a chance to see a football game there.
State Farm Stadium is the name of the Cardinals stadium where they played. What was it? One of the last was I remember the Steelers and was it Steelers?
Cardinals.
Cardinals played
Kurt Warner against the Steelers in that Super Bowl. Yeah. What's really cool about that? So they have it's kind of like the old Texas Stadium where the Cowboys played, where there was just that opening. Well, they have it's not like a full retractable roof. It just they have a part that retracts, so a lot of the field will be in the sun, and they do this whole thing, dun dun dun, and they slowly open the roof, and all the Cardinal fans go crazy. They were one of the first stadiums to wheel the turf in for the game and then take the turf back out into the parking lot so it's always in the sun. I can tell you, first time I went onto that field, I went, this is like a fairway in golf. It's so pristine. And I'm sure the same thing with the Legion Stadium, all these stadiums, the Cowboys do it in Arlington, is that they wheel it out, sits in the sun, and then they wheel it in so the grass is absolutely perfect. It's really cool. And that's one of the things about being down here as we look at the Peoria, Arizona, the stadium here for Athletics Padres, but this is the shared site between the Padres and the Mariners. The facility is beautiful, and the field is – that's the one thing that's really cool about coming down to Arizona is that the fields are absolutely immaculate, because the reality is after spring training, in the different areas, they'll have like high school games, maybe some colleges will play on it. Little bit of Arizona Fall League, but these stadiums, these fields, especially like ours, Hohokam, they don't see a ton of action throughout the year. That's why they stay so perfect. They are manicured every day and have very little play throughout the year.
Yeah, I mean, I've only ever seen Hohokam. I've only seen a few of them because usually when we're down there for games, I'm gone. But just from images and seeing pictures and when games are on television, it always looks so great. And I remember always hearing that about going back to the Cardinal Stadium, State Farm Stadium, about them wheeling the grass out. I always thought that was so cool that they did that. So, seeing how they do stuff in Arizona, obviously with it being so hot, is fascinating. But yeah, the baseball fields. I mean, Hohokam Stadium, Chad Huff and his crew, who's the head of groundskeeper there, he does a great job. So I can only imagine what some of the other stadiums look like too. Like in Peoria, I saw from the image you showed, in Sloan Park, all that. So they do a great job with all the stadiums there in Arizona, especially with the heat.
Yeah, I wish we could turn the camera around, but you said the glare is too bad.
You could try it and see what it looks like, just to show the field again.
Well, Chris Caray dismantled my props to be able to do it already, so we can't try it. These play-by-play guys are needy, man. It's like it's not a working environment. It's like their world, and you're just kind of in it.
Well, I guess you essentially would be his guest, right?
Is that how he is going to treat me today? Are you going to treat me like I'm just your guest? Now, I mean, I'm not a co-worker. Well, I did make him come pick me up. I do have some seniority.
Well, it's not like so. He's not going to.
Hey, let me tell you guys something. You think these guys are all powerful and all knowing? They're the play-by-play guys. You're damn right. Chris Caray and Johnny Dasco are going to pick me up and drive me to the games. I demand that they come get me. Well, Johnny and I are staying at the same hotel. But, yes, they're going to chauffeur me around Arizona. So when you think old Towny ball game has no pull, just remember these hotshot play-by guys are my chauffeurs when I'm down here at spring training.
Well, the better question is, and no one will get to see it.
And taking me to dinner tonight.
Oh, well. Well, Chris does love going to dinner, so that makes sense.
Chris Caray has a question. Go ahead. We can hear you. I'm not doing a game with Korak.
Doesn't matter.
Are you talking about? Oh, you don't think? Yeah. You don't think Ken Korak has drove me around? Ken Korak drove me to the owners party one time. Ken Korak has picked me up multiple times. I don't care how many Hall of Fames he's in. Ken Korak will drive me around, and he's picked me up for golf too. Don't kid yourself.
I have a
play-by-play guys. You gotta keep these play-by-play guys in line because they think they're
Well, we already said
because they can sit there and go, the 2-2 pitch like that's some special skill.
Is Chris Caray going to pull Johnny, and every time you start to speak, just give you the closed fist like Chick Herndon? Stop.
Yeah.
2-2 pitch. They'll let you keep going.
I will talk over all these pitches like you wouldn't believe today if that ever happened. No, the great Chris Caray, just every game that I get to do with him, I know it's special because he's not going to be here long. So you know that, Cody. Chris Caray will not be here for a long time. He is going to, at some point, leave and never talk to us again. And we'll be like, oh, he's doing the World Series. Remember we used to work with him? Yeah, he won't even return our calls anymore. So I know that when I'm doing the games with him, I'm gonna cherish these moments because at some point, he's gonna go from driving me to the ballpark, driving me to dinner to he won't even return my text. And I understand that that's what stardom is. I would do it too. If I became a big network star, I wouldn't remember any of you guys. That's what happens.
Well, I mean, when you become a big star and you're on Fox and you're calling World Series games like Chris Caray could, I mean,
yeah.
Like, Joe Davis is a friend of the program. He still comes on with us and he calls World Series games. So
Joe Davis is different. Joe Davis is a more secure person than our play-by-play guys. So that's why Joe will always be a friend of the program. These guys are a little bit different, But like I said, if it ever happened to me, I would get rid of my phone number, get a new phone, because you have a new set of friends when you're a national guy. You can only have, your country club friends and those guys. The people that you worked with for years, they just go away. Like Cody, I'd never talk to you again if I went national. But at least I'm being honest to you.
Yeah, no, at least you're telling me to my face. Well, over video to my face. So, yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate the honesty.
Yeah, you got to be honest with it. But since I'm not national, you and I are linked forever now.
Well, that's okay. I can live with it.
I'm just a streamer.
Well, you're a game analyst today. Don't sell yourself short.
Oh, by the way, remind me, I got a bone to pick with baseball. And it has nothing to do. I got a bone to pick with the managers, the front office. I got a bone to pick. And I think it's justified. And I think off camera, they would agree with me. On camera, they'd have to disagree with me. Bone to pick coming up here at the top of the hour. But it's now time for a man we all know and love, 3-time World Series champion, A's Hall of Famer, legend in our game, the great Dave Stewart.
One of the best things at spring training is talking to a man, 3-time World Series champion, a World Series MVP. He's in the Athletics Hall of Fame, one of the greatest big game pitchers of all time, won 20 games 4 straight years, and now taking that knowledge and all that time in the baseball life, whether it was of a pitching coach, an agent, a great player, and helping the young players get better, the great Dave Stewart is with us here on A's Cast. Stu, spring training, you're in uniform, you look good.
You know what, Towny, it feels good. This is probably my favorite time of year. Anticipation of getting into camp, the new faces as well as the faces that have been here. People they talk about it all the time, the smell of fresh cut grass, beautiful weather. It was just a great time of year.
Well, I think about how much you care about young people and helping young people. And you did that as an agent, right? That was one of the things that you started to do, and you wanted to help players and their path and their journey. And now coming back as a coach, because you're dealing with you're dealing from kids who could be 18 years old to guys that are more veteran type guys trying to break in. Just how much do you enjoy helping these young players on their journey?
Well, there's so many different aspects of coaching and teaching. You've got guys that have a ton of talent but don't know how to harness it, don't know how to put it in motion and make it playable. And that part is fun. Sandy Koufax was instrumental with my career in that way. And then there's the Dave Duncan side of it, where you've got guys that have got tremendous talent, and the talent is playable, but the finishing product is how they go about their business, how they think about what they're doing when they're playing. And I enjoy that side of it too. And then, it's the selfish side is just really being around a game that keeps you young.
One of the greatest stories, I remember the first time I heard it, is whenever you talked about Sandy Koufax teaching you the forkball. I'm like, Sandy Koufax, Dave Stewart, thinking back. And you know, it's like those are moments for these pitchers, right? That's how they view you. Is it something that you try and really reach out right away? Do you wait for the young player to come to you, or is it a case by case where how you want to impart your wisdom on a guy?
You know, in camp, both big league camp and in our minor league camp, I have, you know, a free run to do what I like to do or whatever I'd like to do. I am more hands-on with these guys, not necessarily in spring training. I kind of leave that to the coaches that have been assigned to work with these kids. And if I do have an opinion about a kid or an idea, I try to work through the coaches, and that I feel it feels a lot better for me.
Yeah.
But once we start season, it's really crazy. You know, Jim Gott, who's in Stockton, Javi Guerra, who's in Midland, our AA teams, those guys prefer when I'm in town to be more hands-on, to do more guiding than working through them, and I appreciate that too. And then we get to AAA, and we've got Schultze, and we've got, you know, Paul Abbott. I like to work through those guys. So it works different in different levels of baseball, but here in spring training, it feels better for me to work through the coaches.
When you were that kid, did you look and go, oh my God, this is Sandy Koufax? Those big long fingers, and he's holding that curve. Were you like, oh my God, this is Sandy Koufax?
It was Sandy Koufax. We had Sandy, and you know, fortunately, you know, as a kid, growing up, I had a chance to see him compete against the Giants.
Yeah.
And I saw a lot of his battles against the Giants. And Don Drysdale was in our camp at that time, and you know, Roy Campanella was still living and was in our camp, and Don Newcomb. And so I got Duke Snyder. I mean, we got a chance to see some of the greats of the Dodger history, and those guys were available to us every day. But as I said, you know, Don Newcomb was very helpful to me.
Yeah.
But Sandy Koufax, of all of our coaches, had the most impact.
So do you ever think back to those times, and now you're that guy, you're the legend, you're the Hall of Famer now helping the young players. Do you ever think back and you think about, is it the mental side, is it the physical side, the way you can really help these young players?
You know, this is what I appreciate about Sandy. Sandy took a while. He was in instructional league, and it took a while, and then he came to me and offered help, and I think that's the best approach. Watch these kids. I've got 4 to 6 weeks with most of these guys, 4 weeks with the big league club, 6 weeks with the minor league kids, to just watch them and figure out what path I want to take. And it doesn't take you that long to figure out what they need and what I can offer them. But the patience of just watching them go about their business is, I think, a gift if you can do that. And I think that the kids appreciate it more when you come to them and you're giving them direction on exactly what you think. And what's been most surprising to me is that a lot of these kids are open, they listen, and they're open for any opinions you may have. Now that can be a gift, or it can be an enemy. In some cases you listen and you try to do everything that's being given to you, and that can mess you up. And so I try to keep things small with these kids and to push direction in a small area versus a more grand area.
And people may forget, but you used to get behind the dish too, and you could swing it a little bit. And being someone that was, you know, in charge of the Blue Jays system, you're assistant GM, and of course a GM with the Arizona Diamondbacks, so you know everything about the game. Do you ever go and help hitters, maybe catchers?
You know, once again, that's a beautiful thing about, you know, my position here with the A's. You know, I have an open invitation to show up with the major league club at any time, and the same thing here with the minor leagues at any time. But I am not pigeonholed into just pitching. I've been an instructor, but I've also been a minor league director, and you know, I don't need to go through the list of players that played in my minor leagues when I was with the Toronto Blue Jays, but there were a lot of major leaguers that came through my system. And you know, part of that is evaluation, and you have to evaluate the players in a lot of different ways when it comes to hitting, base running, jumps in the outfield, or even hitting. Obviously, when I look at hitting through a pitcher's point of view and how I can get you out and what your tendencies are, which are helpful to hitters.
Yes.
I learned most of what I know about pitching by talking to hitters. And so I'm not pigeonholed into just pitching. I can instruct at all levels, give opinions in all levels. And that's a beautiful thing about this opportunity and about my position.
This is the time of the year for these young guys. They come in with their strengths, but they've got to improve their weaknesses and develop new pitches. And it's pitch shaping, pitch development. How important is it to take that time? Yes, you need to come in here, you need to get outs, you need to impress, but you also need to get better and make yourself a better player.
Yeah, it's crazy. Let's take a player like Gage Jump, which you've got a little bit more room with Gage to allow him to work on things. We know where he's going. We know he's going to be a major league player at some point, and in my opinion, it's going to be some point soon.
Yeah.
And so with a guy like Gage Jump, he doesn't need a lot. You give him small little pieces that add to the finishing touches for a Gage Jump. Versus a Kenya Huggins, a kid we got in a trade last year from Cincinnati, who actually, what's beautiful about this kid is his fastball command is really good, but his secondary pitches need to be improved and they need to be better. And so we can work on those areas with him. He throws well enough with his fastball that my guess is he's going to be in Double-A, that he's going to be fine in Double-A, but to be successful in Double-A, we have to make his secondary pitches better. And so we'll work on those things in spring training.
What have you seen so far in Jamie Arnold?
Jamie Arnold, unfortunately.
Little funky.
Yeah, he is. He's very funky. Unfortunately, we haven't had an opportunity to see much of him. When we drafted him last year, he came into our system. We didn't get a chance to see him throw very much because he had a finger injury. The start of this spring training, he's been sick with a cold. So I saw his first bullpen yesterday. And he is funky. He's got a different type of delivery. And obviously he was successful in college. His strikeout rate was unbelievable and his walk rate was low. But the deception that you're going to see from this kid, I think is going to be very usable at the major league level. And I think his level of success is going to continue at the major league level. He's a mid-90s velocity guy with a sweeper, slider. And he's got a really, really nice changeup. And it's going to be very playable. I wouldn't be surprised if he moves through the system quickly.
Is there a couple of the names that you've looked at, the young guys you could talk to that tell us about that have really impressed you?
We've got a kid named Zane Taylor that was another one of our drafted pitchers last year. And he was here in spring training right after the draft. We needed a pitcher at AAA. We sent him to AAA right out of college. He's a strike thrower. He led the nation in strike percentage a year ago. And that's what you want. You want guys that aren't afraid to throw strikes, and he was able to succeed. He got a win. He got a win, as a matter of fact, in his only game in AAA last year. God, we've got some good ones. Medina, who came to us a while back from the Yankees, is going to be healthy this year.
And electric stuff.
Yes, I am so excited to see him healthy.
Healthy again.
I'm excited to see him healthy, Chris. I really am. This kid, there's no ceiling for him. When he's in good health, there's no ceiling for him, and I'm excited to really see him get after it. And, we've got in our minor league system, we were just talking about this the other day, position players as well as our pitchers, especially at the top levels, AAA and AA, we're probably more talented than we've ever been. And it's crazy when you look at our system, 4 or 5 years ago, we were wondering, how we were going to improve it. You take your cap off to David and Dan, and those guys have done a great job in trades, and they've really improved our minor league system to a point that we've got an abundance of talent at our top levels. And what that means is it gives us depth at the major league level. So when somebody goes down at our major league level, we've got guys that we can go to at AAA and AA that are going to be very helpful to our team.
And I know there was a time not too long ago that you went and really graded out our system, and you look at our system, and you've seen from that time you did that to where we are now, to we're one of the top systems in all of baseball.
We are, and I think even at the major league level, we're going to surprise people. We really are. We're going to surprise people. I think, pitching talent, and what I mean by that is, let's say Luis Severino comes out the gate this year on a positive note versus last year coming out, the way he did. If Luis Severino pitches the way he's capable of pitching, that's an improvement to our pitching staff. And last year we won more games than anybody thought we would win. I don't think there's a team that's going to out-hit us. We've got some guys that can put wood to the ball and put the ball in play. We've got the capabilities of scoring runs. And so if Severino pitches well, we picked up Savelli this year. I'm still trying to evaluate and see what he's going to be. But then you look at the rest of our rotation, I think that we're going to be very respectable. I can't tell you when Gage Jumper's going to show at the big leagues, but I think he's going to pitch at the big league level this year.
He's coming.
I think he's going to pitch there this year. And, we've got Cade Morris. We've got some guys that are going to be very good. We've got Morales, another good one. I mean, I can talk about our young talent on and on and on and on. Morales had a good showing at the major league level last year once he was in the big leagues. Once he was in the rotation. And so, we've got a chance to be very good. I think our timetable may fool some people on how quickly we're going to be literally contending for a playoff spot. And I wouldn't be surprised if it happens in this upcoming season.
All I know is you look great in the uni.
Thank you.
You will always, the way you represent this organization, you're one of our all-time greats. And I know how much this organization means to you. It means a lot to all of us that you're here and you're helping train these guys for the future. And we always appreciate your time because nobody better than Dave Stewart.
Thank you. And Towny, I shaved just for you.
Oh, look at that. We'll talk to you during the season, my
Thank
friend.
you, man.
Ace
Thank
Hall
you.
of Famer, Dave Stewart.
When you want to talk about being humble and really appreciating what you do, because when I was a kid and really when I was in high school, and you think about being a baseball player, and you want to be a professional baseball player, clearly I was never going to get to that level. But the A's were the best team in baseball. And Dave Stewart was winning 20 games 4 straight years. And when you watch Dave Stewart growing up, and then all of a sudden, one day I'm sitting in NBC, and I'm like, I'm doing a show with Dave Stewart. I'm working with Dave Stewart. It was like, wow, I really appreciate what I got. And to sit there and to get to know him over the years, and you stop kind of like being just like starstruck, and you just start realizing just what a good just human being this guy is. The way he treats everyone, how Dave Stewart's a type of guy that every single day, and I'm not overselling this, but he's always about making people better. That's just who he is. That's what he is about. And I sure hope he gets to own a team someday because I'd love to see that. But a baseball life that's second to none. He's a wonderful man, and to have him as a friend in this game is really, really special. Love me some Dave Stewart, and I know all of you do too. Coming up next, I got a bone to pick with baseball. And what else are we going to do? You want to go Jacob Lopez?
Sure, and I also have some good news about the ABS system and where the Athletics rank so far in the challenge system. You will be impressed.
Ooh, that's a tease right here on A's Cast Live.
Secure your spot for priority access to 2028 season tickets at the A's Ballpark in Las Vegas for just $19.01. The amount honors the founding year of the Athletics franchise in 1901. By joining the priority list, you'll get an early opportunity to grab season tickets before they go on sale to the public, while also supporting youth baseball and softball programs across Southern Nevada. To secure your spot, visit athletics.com/Vegas. '25 All-Star Brent Rooker joined Towny on A's Cast Live to discuss the special bond in the A's clubhouse.
There really is, and it's developed over the past several years since I've been here in 23. The guys who have have kind of been through the rebuild, and a lot of them came to the minor leagues during that time and got here in 23 or 24 or whatever it was. And it's just, it makes coming to work fun when you like the people you work with, when you like the guys that you're hanging out with, because I mean, we're together for 8 months. We're together 8 hours or at least 8 hours a day every single day. So we're hanging out, and it makes it easier to perform, easier to improve, easier to want to show up and grow as an individual and as a group when you like the guys you're doing it with.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast.
Baseball is back, and big league action has never been more affordable. For a limited time, grab your tickets to see the A's in West Sacramento for just $8. That's right, only $8 for select games this April and May. Catch the showdowns against the Royals, Cardinals, and American League West rivals, the Mariners and the Rangers. Whether it's a midweek getaway or an afternoon at the park, don't miss your chance to see your A's for less than the price of a ballpark snap. Tickets are moving fast. Head to athletics.com, that's athletics.com, to secure your seats today.
The A's YouTube page is your go-to destination for A's video content. Get access to great highlights, exclusive behind-the-scenes content, classic games, A's Cast Live, and more. Visit youtube.com/athletics.
The time is now. Grab your sunglasses, A's gear, and get ready for some fun in the sun. Spring training is back as the Athletics get ready for the 2026 season. Now's the time to make plans to catch us in Mesa, Arizona, and enjoy the sunshine of your family and friends. Grab your tickets for the best seats at the lowest prices as your green and gold take on the Dodgers, Giants, Cubs, Padres, and more at Hohokam Stadium. Don't wait. Get your tickets at athletics.com/spring. That's athletics.com/spring.
Unlock offers and receive exclusive in-game features by downloading the MLB Ballpark app for iPhone and Android today. Plus, get the latest information on game times, schedules, and more.
A's Cast Live continues from the studio. Here's Chris Townsend.
All right, Commander Cody, you teased me. You teased everybody because ABS may become my new nickname because I'm all about right and wrong, balls and strikes. I think there's no question I'm the ABS of the A's broadcast team.
I like that nickname. It's not bad.
They're too busy up here. You know, I'm working. They're shooting the breeze up here, our $1 million broadcast team.
By the way, real quick, we'll pause 10 seconds.
And by the way, Johnny still hasn't gone to get anybody coffee yet. Selfish, you know what. All right, what?
Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification right here on A's Cast. Okay, so I teased it before the break, and it has something to do with ABS. So ESPN just put this out a little bit ago, probably around like 10:40, right before we played this interview with Stu.
Is this is on ESPN.com?
Yes, I'll send you the article so you have it for the broadcast.
All right.
The Athletics had the highest success rate using the automated ball strike system to overturn ball strike calls during the first 10 days of spring training, winning 69.2% of challenges his team prepared for its regular season debut on March 25th.
All right, so A 69.2% leads MLB.
Correct.
Minimum 10 games?
Yeah, the first 10 games of spring training, yep.
Who's next?
The Giants were second at 66.7%, followed by the Reds.
All right, that's all I need. 66 point what?
66.7. And then the Padres were fifth, actually, 61.9.
Okay, hold on. San Diego was 60 what?
61.9.
61.9. Now, we have no clue whether this is going to translate to the regular season. They're still filling out strategies. Why would a team tell you their strategy? But everybody's going to ask them, right? They're going to say, hey, how are you going to do it? And it may evolve during the year, right? If you find something you have success with, and then you might have where you go, this is a failure. I never want a pitcher ever to call it. There may be some catchers who are bad at it. There may be some batters who are bad at it. You may have a batter that you find out is terrible at it, and you say, I don't ever want you to challenge, ever. You may have strategies. Don't challenge in the first 3 innings. Don't challenge in the first inning. Only challenge when there's runners on. We're going to see this thing evolve. So the fact that the Athletics are good at it now, that's a good sign because it means we have good judgment. What's that going to mean going forward? I don't know. But I'll tell you this, I'd rather be really good at it versus not. And the really cool thing about ABS, it's not like the challenge system in baseball that we have now, which is ridiculous. What we have now is you have a call on the field made by an umpire. Whatever that call is, safe, out, fair, foul, whatever it is, New York then has to determine whether that call was right or wrong, and there has to be reasonable doubt. There has to be the video evidence that overwhelmingly shows I need to reverse that call. And that's why the challenge system in baseball is flawed, because it's human beings still judging human beings. The human error is there. And we've always said on this program, we need it to be about the technology. Well, this is just about the technology. There's no human error here. The technology will show you right or wrong. That's what makes ABS so much better than the garbage challenge system we have in baseball. When guys like us sit there and watch baseball games every single night, guy slides in the second, he's clearly out, but the call was safe. They send it back to New York, and New York is rarely going to overturn. And it's human beings still judging human beings. ABS is not that. This is just purely how good is your judgment. Do you know what a ball between the fielder is the pitcher and the catcher, and the batter? So we got to remember, we're going to have these terms. The fielder, once again, pitcher, catcher will be listed as fielder, batter. Who judges the strike zone better? It's going to be a skill set. It's going to be something that scouts look for.
You want to know who the worst team in baseball was at it?
Are they in Florida or Arizona?
They're in Arizona.
Are they in a cool spring training spot or one of these way out in the middle of nowhere that no one cares about?
I'm going to go with cool, even though I've never been there.
Cool. I'm going to say it's either Arizona or Colorado.
It would be neither. It would be the World Series champion Los Angeles Dodgers at 21.4%. That's the lowest in baseball.
Means nothing, but I like it.
And if you want this, because I said it to you, if you want this too, the overall success rate is 51.3% with an average of 2.3 challenges per game.
Which that's holding with what happened in the minor league. So what show did we do that where we were talking ABS last week?
I want to say it was either Wednesday or Thursday.
So ABS is holding serve. In the minor leagues, it was about 50%, right? Pitchers, well, the fielder, pitchers and catchers were right 55% of the time, and the batter was right about 45% of the time. Do your math from college, Cody. It's about 50%. So in the minors, it was around 50%. So far in spring training, 10 games, it's around 51. So it's not this crazy 70-30. It's usually pretty towards the middle when you look at winning and losing challenges.
Yeah, I like what I've seen so far, and the I don't know if this should surprise you or not, but the team that's averaged the most challenges this spring training, that'd be the New York Yankees at 3.8 per game, winning 52.6% of them. So ESPN has this out there. It's a report from the Associated Press, but it's on ESPN with the title of the article being A's have the best ABS challenge success rate so far this spring. So the A's lead Major League Baseball with 69.2% of challenges they've won for the new ABS challenge system during the first 10 days of spring training.
I like it. Fans are starting to make their way into the ballpark here in Peoria. You mentioned gauge jump. And flying here last night into Sky Harbor, I read this thing about gauge jump and talking about Gage Jump's future, how nasty he is. And then I heard our skipper say that Gage Jump needs to polish some things up. But he's really close, but he needs to polish things up. And it bothered me, not what Marcotte said, it just made me think of baseball in general, how we are a sport that suppresses young talent. We're so archaic in our beliefs, where every other sport does not suppress its talent, right? Celebrini, who we all think is going to be maybe a Hockey Hall of Famer someday, right? He's already playing for Team Canada. And if you don't know who we're talking about the wonder kid from the Sharks. He just played on Team Canada. You'd be in baseball, they would still have him in the minor leagues. Yet he's one of the best players in the National Hockey League right now, and he's playing on the Olympic hockey team for Canada. In baseball, we would have still had him in the minor leagues. That's baseball's system is so archaic that we suppress, and there's a lot of reasons why. And I think we all know the reasons why. A lot of them are monetary. But in football, we draft you, we play you somehow because we think you have value. Basketball, we draft you, we play you because we think you have value. Hockey, if you can really play, you're going to get onto the ice. Baseball, we find every way to send young people back because they need more of something. I sit here night after night and watch guys who have 5+ ERAs who are terrible. We used 873 pitchers last year in baseball. Is that what it was, Cody?
Yeah, that sounds right. I know it was over 850.
You're trying to tell me Gage Jump isn't better than the majority of all the 873 pitchers that we used in baseball last year?
I would say yes, he is.
That's all I'm saying. Baseball has to figure out a way with this next collective bargaining agreement to stop this madness and utilize the young talent. Because I checked in with a friend of mine who is an agent, and they're starting to run numbers. The lifespan of a major league pitcher keeps going down. Keeps going down and keeps going down. So if I know that the average major league pitcher isn't going to have a long career, and every single year their life expectancy in this game goes down, why would I take a valuable asset and not utilize it while I got it? From a business strategy, why would you not utilize something that can help you now and help you in the future? Why would you not do that? Why would you say, Paul Skeens is the greatest example. They used some of the worst language ever to tell you why Paul Skeens wasn't ready, and we all knew that's garbage. Why? We need to figure out a way to embrace the young player like every other sport does, right? We have young men making millions of dollars on the PGA Tour. There's really nothing harder than golf when you're competing around the world, different courses, traveling every single weekend. It's crazy. They're 21 and 22 right out of college and doing it. Every other sport embraces young talent and this young talent coming into your game, except us. We suppress it and send it back into lower levels where those games don't matter. And we justify it over and year after year after year. Part of the problem is our game. Part of the problem is our collective bargaining agreement and the way our business is conducted. It's just not, it's not good. And when you have quality young people, for instance, should Nick Kurtz have started last year? And I'm just using us as an example. Nick Kurtz should have never been in the minor leagues last year.
Agreed.
Shouldn't have. There's no reason, right? But that's just part of it. Nick Kurtz wasn't about money. Nick Kurtz was about our archaic thinking of got to get the seasoning down in the minors, got to get some dirt underneath the spikes. Can you imagine you saying that? Pick the sport. No other sport does that. And like what we hear all the time, we try and act like baseball is so different from every professional sport, and it just makes us look old and archaic. If you can score some touchdowns, guess what? I don't care what your age is. I don't care what college you just played in. You're going to play in the NFL. Celebrini, how old is Celebrini?
He's 19.
How old is his Gage Jump?
21 or 2, I think. I think he's 21. I'll double check for you.
Macklin Celebrini is on Team Canada on the biggest stage, NBC, in the Olympics at 19 years old. And we're talking about guys that are 21, not being ready.
22.
He's 22. 22. Celebrini's 19 playing in. Do you know what the ratings were for NBC for that Olympic hockey game against the United States?
I know they were very high. I don't know what the exact number was.
So Celebrini can be on the ice, but we can't have. It's like we gotta change the mindset.
Well, I was going to give you a good example. A good example, and it goes back to hockey. Yesterday, the Sharks won in overtime. Their 18-year-old first-round pick from this draft scored the game-winning goal in overtime yesterday. Who in hockey, if you don't follow closely, you can play 9 games in the NHL, and you can get sent back down to the minors or sent back to the juniors to play. Depending on how old you are. The Sharks decided to keep Michael Misa, their number 1 pick, on the roster because they figured he has really nothing to prove or learn in the minor leagues in the AHL with the Barracuda. So he's sticking around with the Sharks, where in Major League Baseball, we're going to send guys down to the minor leagues when we know that they're like a guy like Paul Skeens. He's the best example recently that how good he is, but they're going to send him down to suppress him because of, as you mentioned, monetary reasons. And the Pirates are looking at doing the same thing right now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
I forgot we're supposed to bring Chris Caray on.
Yeah, well, whenever he's ready.
He's ready. I mean, it would be like sending Chris Caray, not allowing Chris Caray to do games and sending him back to Amarillo.
You could talk, Chris.
Can you not hear? How it works, Chris. It's a screen. You talk into it, and the fans can hear you. No, I don't want soda. Johnny still hasn't helped out the broadcast team.
There's no coffee in the building.
There's no coffee? Is this the building where we snuck in and made coffee that one game? What building?
Here. Here?
All right. Yeah, I think so. By the way, Johnny D is here. Chris Caray.
I couldn't really hear Chris Caray, so maybe take the AirPods out and do without the AirPods for this, so you can have the mic.
Can you hear him?
No, I couldn't hear him. I was going to say take the AirPods out, and you guys just use the microphone on the iPad.
Okay. All right. Right.
So yeah. So we're
Chris
Townsend.
So Ken, how's that? This is first day doing live shows at spring training from the broadcast booth when normally are we good?
I hear you. Yes. Chris, talk.
Okay, we're not going to hear him very well. See, okay, there we go. See, we were supposed to have this fancy setup that Cody was to make sure that was going to work, and once again, it doesn't work, and so we always have to. This is like 3 spring trainings in a row. We have to end up just doing it on the iPad.
The iPad is it's an invaluable
because in Cody's
tool.
world, as long as his stuff works, that's all that matters.
You know what? You started calling him Cody Elias this year. I've always heard you call him the Commander, so he's earning his due.
Have I changed that?
I've heard a lot more Cody Elias this year than
because look, it's always up on the screen, so it's kind of I'm Ron Burgundy. Put it on the screen, I'm going to read it.
I got you guys now, though, so you can keep talking.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because you look dumbfounded. I don't even know if we're on the air or not.
No, you are.
Today's action?
Yeah, I'm excited to do a game with you. I remember the last time that we did a game together, you stole a car.
Police were involved. That's correct.
Police were involved, and he unknowingly stole a car.
Got 2 free nights for Omni out of it, though, so there was a benefit.
You are just a night's merchant.
I will say this. Chris Caray, who is a very innocent, and I say it all the time, his parents did a great job raising him. He's a great young man. You'd want him to marry your daughter. He did have a lot of ideas of how I could get rid of the car in the desert so they couldn't finger me. that did scare me a little bit. And I don't know if you're like my wife and you're watching all these dramas at night, but as a thief, you do have some ideas.
Yeah, I think that I did, and I was more worried about my partner at that point. We're supposedly a family, we're a community. He doesn't return texts well as Johnny Dasco does, but we are a family, we are a community, and I was just worried about you not making your flight back to San Jose to where you were gonna miss a tee time. And I know that's way more important to you than time with me.
I mean, if we could have buried that car like lighter fluid, lit it on fire somewhere, and surprise.
Take it to Sun City, developing community, lots of development areas. They would never have been able to find it.
The people of Surprise wouldn't have been surprised that I lit the.
I don't think so.
No. I'm excited about today because I think it's fun. We get to work together. We're gonna have a lot of fun together. I think you're a lot of fun. Sometimes you're with a bunch of these old guys. So today we're gonna have some fun. But yes, you're with one of the greats of all time, Caray and Johnny. You got Hall of Fame squared when you're dealing with those two guys.
Yeah, I get Johnny in the regular season, and then Ken and I have 3 games this spring. We've knocked out 2 of the 3, and it was a lot of fun getting to learn from him and hear from him and just see his process. I think that's something that a lot of people don't get to see behind the scenes, is how he goes about talking about the game before he puts on the headset, and then of course when he puts on the headset, it's complete magic. And for me, it's a little daunting broadcasting next to Ken on a medium that I'm trying my best to learn, but Ken Korak is just a cut of his own, just a different level that I think is going to be very hard to reach in this medium for me.
Well, he is a San Francisco Bay Area Radio Hall of Famer. We talk about some of the greatest broadcasters of all time who are in that Hall of Fame. There's a reason why Ken Korak's in that, and he's been also up for the Ford C. Frick, which is also that's where you get into the Baseball Hall of Fame. So the fact that he's been honored for that, and of course Johnny D with Sacramento, and Johnny's in like 5 Hall of Fames. So someday you'll be racking in those Hall of Fames.
It's going to take a while, but I hope so. I hope I'm here long enough to where I can at least get my name called once somewhere. Maybe the one that will happen the soonest could be Amarillo Softball's Baseball Hall of Fame. Just like Johnny.
There's no way. An Amarillo sod.
There's not yet. It's brand new. The team's brand new. So I would say, maybe.
I'm not going to address you as Amarillo sod poodle Hall of Famer, Chris Caray. I would refuse to do that.
It would be like it would be the most watered down version of the Hall of Fame.
It'd be like you and your brother.
Sacramento Baseball Hall of Famer Johnny Dasco in Sacramento, so it's pertinent. It's important. Bay Area Radio Hall of Famer Ken Korak, and then Amarillo Sod Pool Hall of Famer Chris Caray. It just doesn't sound right.
You're walking around in like a Masters jacket. I'm in the Amarillo. That would be hilarious. What are you excited about today for the broadcast, other than you get to hang with me?
I'm excited to watch you watch Leo Vries for the first time.
I am giddy about that.
I know you're excited about it. I've heard a lot about him out at camp, and I've seen him play a bit. I mean, he gets into that box, and he has an attack mentality. He doesn't care who's on the mound. He doesn't care who he's facing. I've seen him only bat left-handed up to this point, so I'm waiting to see when we'll get to see the right side of his swing, because I hear it's more contact.
Well, Michael King's going for the Padres,
so
right?
He'll be more left. Unless if King goes 2 innings. But they've been stretching these guys out a little bit more. Yesterday, most of the starters played about 5.5 innings before they made a change. And obviously, the A's got their 2nd win of the season, and the spring season. It was a great victory for them. So maybe we'll see a good bit more of Vries here in Peoria, a place where he played against us last year in spring training. And I think he started that game. So now it just comes full circle for him.
Can you imagine? Like last year, we had no clue. Like, you would have wrote his name, man, and not even thought twice about it. And how much a trade in our game, how much a trade can just change everything. Like, he was a nothing last year. He's everything this year for us.
And it's going to be very interesting to see how they deploy him, because he's over at shortstop, and he's performing that. He's performing really well. I mean, all the scouts, everybody that talks to says he's tremendously smooth over there. I know there was some gossip behind the scenes. Maybe they changed his position because you got an all-star shortstop already in Jacob Wilson. But right now, all sources the signs point to the fact that he's going to play shortstop at the big leagues at one point or another, and for the A's.
How much time do we have, Cody?
Like about 2 minutes before we have to break.
Because I did want to get into with you, because having you just recently come from the minor leagues, having you be a young broadcaster, I think you kind of understand where I'm going with this. Baseball has to change. The suppressing young talent, it's a tired act. Whether it's financial or not, it's just tired. All the other sports don't do it. We continue to do it, and we continue to try and justify it. And it's flat out wrong. And you can sit there night after night and look who's out there pitching with 5 ERAs, getting lit up like a Christmas tree. But then they're telling you the guy with electric stuff down below needs more polish. It's like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate your perspective. I think I agree to a sense. Like, I think with the young talent that's coming up, especially for a team like us that is teaming with youthful exuberance, and they're trying to create a cohesive unit going into Vegas, it would be cool to see some of those guys make the team out of camp. I think everybody now, hindsight's 2020 thought, could think, what if we had Kurtz for a full year last year? We're probably talking more like 45, 50 homers in a season, and possibly major MVP votes and the Rookie of the Year. So, you know, you don't know what it would look like. And guys like Gage Jump, Jamie Arnold, Wayne Lynn, those guys are not far behind. And when you have the pitching situation the A's do right now, they've got 3 veterans at the top of the rotation, and you got 2 younger guys. I would say Jacob Lopez still has a little bit of experience, and Morales, who's electric and dynamic, should he be able to locate, which all sources and actions indicate that he has been able to do that for the most part in spring. Yeah, giving the young guys a chance would be great, but depth is also important.
So you're just going in. I'm talking about our sport. Our sport is suppressing young talent everywhere.
I agree.
And they're trying to give you reasons and justify, and it's really not justifiable. And every other sport shows you why it's not. And to say our sport is different is ridiculous. There are too many really good young players that should be playing in Major League Baseball. And night after night, we're seeing older guys failing. And it's like, if you have somebody who's 20, 21, 22, and they're showing you they have the skill, let them learn here. Let's go.
And that's one of the things of guaranteed contracts that causes that, right? You sign a guy for 8 years, and his value, he has value for 5 of the 8 years. In the final 3, you got to roll him out there because you're paying him. You can't find a place to trade him. Perfect example of a guy like that with so much talent in the minor leagues. It's a shame that they haven't called him up yet. Is Ryan Ward, the Dodgers organization. 3 years in AAA, each season 30 homers. He had like 36 homers last year for the AAA club in Oklahoma City. Everybody's wondering, okay, he's a corner outfielder. We had some issues there. We had Conforto. We decided to sign Michael Conforto to $18 million or whatever it was. And Ward would have been just as good, if not better, on a World Series caliber team. And now he's on possibly looking into making the team this year, but he's now 27 or 28 years old, and he's been this good for the last 3 or 4 years. He could have made his debut at 23 or 24, and now there's money coming out of his pocket. I know it's organizational structure and all that stuff, but if I was him, I wouldn't be happy either.
No, it's garbage. All right, we got more coming up next right here on A's Cast Live.
Baseball is back, and big league action has never been more affordable. For a limited time, grab your tickets to see the A's in West Sacramento for just $8. That's right, only $8 for select games this April and May. Catch the showdowns against the Royals, Cardinals, and American League West rivals, the Mariners and the Rangers. Whether it's a midweek getaway or an afternoon at the park, don't miss your chance to see your A's for less than the price of a ballpark snack. Tickets are moving fast. Head to athletics.com, that's athletics.com, to secure your seats today.
Looking to stay up to date on all things A's? Head over to athletics.com/A'sCast. That's athletics.com/A'sCast to listen to A's baseball in full 24/7 coverage of the A's, only on A's Cast. With a single click, you can stream great shows, live pre- and post-game coverage, and of course, all the great action of the A's this season. Head to athletics.com/A'sCast today.
Secure your spot for priority access to 2028 season tickets at the A's Ballpark in Las Vegas for just $19.01. The amount honors the founding year of the Athletics franchise in 1901. By joining the priority list, you'll get an early opportunity to grab season tickets before they go on sale to the public, while also supporting youth baseball and softball programs across Southern Nevada. To secure your spot, visit athletics.com/Vegas. Tyler Soderstrom joined Chris Townsend to talk about his breakout 2025 season, his new 7-year contract extension, and his commitment to the future of the Athletics.
There was some conversation right at the end of the season last year with what they were planning to come to us with. So we had a good idea. I knew that they were going to come to us with something in November, and they came with their first offer. Everything is a negotiating process, so there's that whole process. My agent, Garrett Parcell, did a great job at Paragon Sports of kind of let me and my wife and my family just kind of sit back and let them kind of handle all of the whole process of it. And, we ended up coming to terms. So it was something that I wanted to do. I love this organization. I got drafted by them. My relationships that I've built, that's what's important to me. So I'm just excited, to be here for the long term. And, like I said, just super blessed.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast. Secure your spot for priority access to 2028 A's season tickets in Las Vegas for just $19.01, honoring the franchise's 1901 founding year. Join the list for early ticket opportunities and support youth baseball and softball in Southern Nevada. Visit athletics.com/Vegas.
Continues from the studio. Here's Chris Townsend.
It is Chris Townsend and Chris Caray with you, getting you ready for A's baseball. A's going to be taking on the Padres coming up here at the top of the hour from Arizona. We're in Peoria. I will not give you my thoughts on Peoria. I'm going to save that for the broadcast. Cody came up with the stat. The A's have been the best at ABS so far. It's 10 games. Don't laugh. I will give you my scouting report on Peoria. I'm saving it for the game when I'm going to force you to have a tough reaction.
Baseball fans,
it's gonna be. It won't be easy. You've seen it so far. You've seen it, obviously. You saw it in the minor leagues. They didn't. So I saw it in the fall. Okay. So what's your impressions of ABS?
I love it. I think it's going to make the games even more exciting. People are worried about how much time it takes. It's so quick. My concern is how different teams deploy the challenge system, because you see guys challenging in the first inning, that's fine. There's just no chance that can happen in the regular season. It's got to be like 5th, 6th inning later, unless it's an absolutely crucial point in the game. Bases loaded, 2 outs, 3-2 count, and you get squeezed on a strike, something like that. But 2 challenges is a good amount, and I think that the A's have done pretty well. Austin Wynns challenged one yesterday. I think Chad Wallach challenged one yesterday. So. And they were both successful. And you can see on the other side, I know you weren't here at the game, but we were playing, Marty forgetting who we were playing in spring training.
As you said, I wasn't at the game. Who were you playing yesterday?
Who were we playing yesterday? Either way, the team that we were playing burned their challenges inside the first 4 innings. It was the Cincinnati Reds. Burned their challenges.
Were you in Goodyear or Hohokam?
At Hohokam. And they burned their challenge. They had a first inning challenge, which they lost, and I think they challenged again in the 4th inning. They lost that again. They were out of challenges before the 5th inning even started, which can be and will be an advantage for teams that won't
hold on to.
Yeah. So I love it. I think it's going to be great, and I think the response time is good. I think it also holds the umpires accountable in some ways, and then I think it will also change how the umpires think about their strike zones, because you couldn't question balls and strikes. Now you can, and let's say a strike that they would typically call a ball or a ball they call a strike. How does that affect their performance and how they view the strike zone the rest of the game?
A little humility. Maybe there's going to be a little more humility when it comes to dealing with managers and players, because obviously these guys, this is a highly stressful environment. Wins and losses mean everything. The way you were judged, and for many, many years, umpires, I don't want to call them all out, but umpires were not really judged, or they were judged behind the scenes. They were perceived to be very arrogant. And now you're seeing these players who are like, dude, that's not a strike. That is a bad call. And the umpire, how can you? Because remember, you could not challenge balls and strikes. You got thrown out of the game for that. Even Aaron Boone against the A's, who didn't say anything, it was the fan behind him was almost thrown out of a game. I think, was he thrown out of a game by us? They thought it was Boone, but it was the fan. It's been so sensitive, and it's been such a controversial thing between managers. I mean, wasn't that long ago Scott Emerson got thrown out, and he never gets thrown out. You can't challenge umpires, and well, now we actually can. The world is evolving and changing for the better, and what this will finally lead to is the fact that we will go full ABS, and full ABS, the data has shown, leads to less strikeouts, more balls in play, more action in the field.
I don't know if I want full ABS. I know that sounds like an unpopular opinion, but I do like the human error of the umpire, but I do like the fact that there's a middle ground to hold them accountable that creates a sense of excitement and gamesmanship and strategy. You completely eliminate the umpires from the game, essentially, then you're not getting the same experience as you will with the challenge system. I would say use maybe 3 or 4 challenges.
You know, my friends, that's cute. You and Johnny Dasco, that's cute. You can talk about it. We are going full ABS. Don't listen to it. Technology is going full ABS. We will be...
I'm very curious to see what happens this year with the.
Okay, I'm just gonna get. We gotta move. I'm just gonna tell you this. Is this better, Cody? I'll get closer. I'm gonna end with you with this. Let's pause for station identification right here on Ace Cast. All right, I always have to teach people because people are prisoners of the moment. Because people care about what's right now and about them right now. Let me teach young Chris Caray a lesson here. At the end of his career, there are going to be kids who grow up, they will never have seen an umpire call a ball a strike. And it will seem so archaic, just like Chris Caray can't imagine growing up in life without a cell phone. We evolve as human beings, and we sit here and we give these big bravado things. There is going to be a generation by the end of Chris Caray's career that have only seen the A's ever play a game in Vegas. They won't even know about Philadelphia, Kansas City, or Oakland because life constantly moves on. I will be dead. Cody will be in a retirement home. You'll be retiring. You'll be broadcasting to people who have never seen an umpire call a ball or strike.
What retirement home do you think Cody Elias is going to be in? Where exactly?
Maybe in Peoria. All righty, we're coming up at the top of the hour. Jacob Lopez. Cody, you said he's starting Sunday?
The plan is for him to start Sunday against the Dodgers this upcoming Sunday.
Here's my conversation with the big left-hander from Hohokam Park. Lopez with us here on A's Cast Live. The big lefty, how are you?
Great, doing great.
How's the body? How you feeling going into 2026?
Healthy, 100% healthy, so ready.
Isn't that nice to say?
Yeah, it feels refreshing. So
I got to say, your season last year, you showed so much growth. And when you think about what you displayed in Major League Baseball, your ability to get hitters out, you really showed that you belong at this level. When you reflect on 2025, I know you wanted a full season, but when you reflect on 2025, how did you see it? How did you feel about it when you went home and had time to think?
Yeah, obviously this was like my first real opportunity up top, so just being able to get on the rotation and have a good stretch at it, I learned so much. And there was some rocky starts, and
sure,
at the end of the season it just all came crashing down with a bad game and the injury, but I learned from it. So I took all that and kind of was a sponge on my own, just learning a bunch. And it was a long off season trying to get healthy, and I'm just really ready to go.
Let's think about the positive, though. I think back about that game against Philadelphia in Sacramento where you were just absolutely amazing. There was a lot of people, you opened eyes because Philly had one of the best lineups in baseball and you shut them down. When you think of the positives, your ability to constantly throw strikes, put the ball where you want it, the breaking stuff, talk about the positives of 2025.
Yeah, the positives was an opportunity and knowing that I belong up there and I could compete with any lineup. So, just you build off of those just as much as the negatives, and it's tough, but you do try to remember that there's good days in this game also.
Talk about not going beyond just trying not to make a team, but as you said, knowing you belong.
Yeah.
Talk about it's the mental side of the game, which usually is the most important side of the game. Talk about that for yourself, where all of a sudden when you're showing up every single day, you know you belong in the big leagues.
Yeah, I know I can compete with anybody, but I've never been given anything in my career. So I think every year since rookie ball is do my best and try to outperform everyone else and show them that I do belong. And it's the same mentality this year. Just do my best and try to help win ball games.
What did you think about this offseason that you had to get better at, you had to refine, that you want to bring here to spring training in 2026?
Yeah. Obviously, I worked on things in the weight room and training room. I stayed here in Arizona the whole offseason and came in the complex and worked with those guys a lot, just trying to make sure the body's healthy all year long. And, now that we're starting to get into camp and get off the mound more, I could work on the pitching side of it a little bit more.
What's so interesting is when you start looking at the starting staff, last year at this time, we're like, who's the 5 going to be? We've got a pretty good idea, plus a stable of a bunch of other guys. Some may go to the bullpen first. Talk about the group inside that clubhouse and how talented the arms are right now.
Yeah, coming over from Tampa, that's kind of how it was the whole time there, where it's just studs, that throughout the whole organization. And, coming in here also, it's the same thing. Like, we have so many guys, so kind of keeps you on your toes, and but it's really fun and impressive to watch all these guys go out there and do their thing.
And then there's that sense of these young, talented position players. You got to watch them kind of grow up this year. What's it like coming in here and see them now? Because there's a whole different kind of bravado in that clubhouse.
Right? Yeah, different energy. Just everyone seems like they know each other, a little bit more familiar. So it's definitely awesome. Cott's talked about how I think 25 of them were here before their camp started. So just really cool to see, and it feels good going into the season.
And when you say the expectations have changed dramatically.
Yeah. So, we're talking about that. So hopefully we could follow up on it and win some ball games.
All right. I've been asking everybody today, coolest thing you did this off season that had nothing to do with baseball, or coolest thing that happened to you?
Yeah. The coolest thing was we went to Nashville and saw my best friend, his family. We were there for 3 weeks, so it was nice to get out there.
Nashville's a good place to be. It's a good party, especially if you love country. Do you love country music?
Yeah, especially my girlfriend. So
Broadway, you go down Broadway, and we were there for the winter meetings a couple of years ago, and I was like, why is there not a major? If there's a city when they talk about needs a Major League Baseball team, Nashville's a place that it should be a team.
Let's get to Vegas first, then hopefully someone else goes there soon.
All right, well, hey, thank you for stopping by. We always appreciate it. Stay healthy. It's going to be a big year for you in 2026 and for the starting rotation. The next time we'll see you will be in Sacramento.
All right, thank you.
You think about this time last year, where we even talk about Jacob Lopez. I mean, obviously, when you looked at that trade for Joe Boyle, Jacob Lopez was a name you didn't even think about. I mean, did we ever mention his name last spring training during any shows?
I'm going to go with probably not. He was just the guy that was in the Jeffrey Springs trade.
Yeah. You knew getting Jeffrey Springs was a big deal if he could stay healthy, which he did. I mean, we're talking about a guy, I just had to bring up his numbers. He had 113 punch-outs in 92 2/3 innings. 7-7 with a 4.08 ERA. A guy that we didn't even talk about ended up giving you 17 starts. 21 outings. Once again, 92 2/3. I'll never forget that game at home at the ballpark in West Sacramento against Philadelphia, where he just shoved for like 8. Did he? I don't know if he completed the game. Did he? He went 8 or 9. And that's clearly one of the best lineups in baseball. And he showed you a lot. I mean, he's a big dude. He hides the ball. Now we're talking about Jamie Arnold hiding the ball and being a slinger. Jacob Lopez is a really big guy who hides the ball and is a slinger coming from the side. I mean, if you hide the baseball, you don't have to throw hard. We talk about being the funky. Funk is good in our game. And if he can stay healthy, he could be truly one of the steals. I mean, can you imagine if you got 25 to 30 starts from Jacob Lopez? My God, that would be unbelievable.
he won 7 against Philly, allowed 3 hits, 1 run, struck out 8, and then he went on that incredible run there where he, in the games he started, he was awesome. He had like 1 game where he allowed 5. Other than that, he was really good all the way through, through July, and then obviously he made a couple more starts after that, and then at the end of August he got hurt and was out for the rest of the year. But he was a godsend for the A's after he kind of took over, stopped being the opener and all that, and just pitching multiple innings and just becoming a full-on starter. And he was a good find for the team. And hopefully he stays healthy going into this year. And you're right, with him and with how deceptive he is, and then with Jamie Arnold, the A's could have some good left-handers in their rotation going forward, along with Jeffrey Springs and Gage Strum.
I find the part about spring training where we're seeing the A's now filter into the ballpark. A lot of hugs, a lot of guys. I mean, we have quite a few guys that once played for the Padres, and there's some former Padres that played for us. So there's a lot of familiar faces on both sides. And we love to sell spring training as, hey, get a couple at-bats, then we're going to go play some golf and lay by the pool. And I know a lot of broadcasters sell that if you listen to play-by-play around baseball. And as Chris Caray knows, no one grinds more time listening to spring training baseball than me. Nothing. Just not. That's my broadcast partner right there, Cody. Nothing. Checked out already. Point is, we act. I was talking to you, by the way. No, never mind. It's no good now. The joke's over. Thanks. The point is, we act like we're all just sitting here getting ready, and some of these at-bats and some of these innings are the most important of these guys' careers. And we don't really talk about that because we want to make it seem like these games don't matter. Everybody's just trying to get, in their feel. I'm here to be real with you, and I will be on the broadcast the next 4 days. Some of these outings and some of these at-bats are the biggest of these guys' career because a lot of these players, this is when the A's front office is here. To my right, we have A's front office members. They see every at-bat here. They see every inning here. I hate to tell you, when you go to Lansing or you go to Midland, they don't see every at-bat. They don't see it. This, you are making an impression on the people who decide how far you go in this game in your life. So when we talk about, and broadcasters do it all the time, and they act like, these are just spring training games and they don't mean anything, they're lying to you. They don't, or they just don't get it. When you're a minor league guy getting to play in a game like this is one of the most important bats you'll ever have in your life because the odds of you making it to the big leagues, slim. So you need to plant the seed in these front office guys. There's 3 front office guys to my right here for the Athletics. I don't know where the Padres guys are. Same thing for the Padres. You need to plant the seed going, hey, listen, I need to be on your radar. I need to change or reaffirm how you feel about me in these games. So when we leave and I go to Midland, that front office guy goes, God, remember how much that guy was crushing the ball at that game in Peoria? That stuff matters, man. These innings and at-bats are crucial for your career. That is such a small, precious thing. So many of these guys are one decision from being out of this game. So when people tell you this stuff doesn't matter, they're full of crap. Every one of these at-bats, hey, if you got a long-term contract, which I can tell you most of the guys on the field today don't have, every one of these at-bats and every one of these innings matter.
Yeah, and a couple of guys I was looking at just to highlight that you're mentioning, guys like Brett Harris, Daryl Hernandez, guys trying to make the team and find a spot on the roster, Carlos Cortez. Those are just some guys that you're looking to see if guys that can be, lower on the 26-man roster who could be guys that can maybe fill in for you and play third base along with Max Muncy. And then it was nice to see Tommy White hit a home run yesterday. Hopefully soon to be our friend Tommy Tanks. But yeah, the guys like Brett Harris and that, they're trying to fight for a spot on the roster. If not, they know they're going to be playing in Las Vegas. So you're right. And that's why you always see these interesting stories in spring training where you look at other teams and you're like, who led what team in home runs? Who led who? Wait, that guy led spring training in home runs. You never hear from him again. That's why these guys are balling out for spring training, knowing they're trying to win a spot on someone's roster.
You want to be Henry Bolte and show off today? You want to be Leo DeVries and show off today? Well, the brass is all right here. Now there's 4 of them here. These things are crucial. You know, one of the biggest games, and I always equate stuff back to the NFL because I know everybody watches the NFL. One of the biggest games is the 4th preseason game when everybody in that game is probably getting cut. But everybody in the league is watching those games going, hey, I still need guys that can be on, you know, my scout squad. I still need somebody for kickoff. I need somebody for kickoff return. Every single time you strap it on, somebody is watching. So not only are people watching today, you're watching your team, our front office guys, there's 4 of them, as I said, they're going to be watching the Padres players too. Because last time I checked, we do deals with the Padres all the time. So don't let anyone ever sell you that these are meaningless spring training games. Because if you believe that, you're nuts. These games matter a lot, especially for these young guys who want to have a career.
Yeah, and guys who want to make rotations and make bullpens and be guys that are fixtures coming up because you know you're going to use at least 15 starting pitchers. So guys that are pitching, a guy like Mason Barnett on the mound for the A's today. Is he going to be in the 5 to start the season? We don't know for sure. We probably lean towards probably not, but he will make a handful of starts, if not more, for the A's going forward. So you want to see a guy like him, what he has, and the guys that are coming after him on top of the position players.
And how about Justin Sterner? We didn't know he was going to play a big part last year, but obviously he did, and he's going to play another big part of being in the A's bullpen. Let's end with him. Here's my conversation with the Athletics right-hander as we're getting ready for the Athletics and the Padres right here on A's Cast and KSTE in Sacramento. Here is Justin Sterner.
Justin Sterner joins us right here on A's Cast. We appreciate you stopping by. You're in the all whites. You look great. How you feeling coming into spring?
Ready to go. Looking forward to it. You know, getting the juices flowing a little bit, getting the body ready, but I feel like I'm in a good spot and ready to get after it.
You know, you pitched fantastic for the A's last year, and you think about your body of work. It was a lot of outings. It was a lot of innings. When you reflect on 2025, what did you think about your season?
I think there was a lot of growth, obviously. First full season in the big leagues and pitching a lot. So mostly just learning how to deal with that and how to manage my body and the workload. And so I think I have a lot better idea of what to expect going into this year and kind of how to prepare and hopefully can, you know, be at my best the whole year instead of, you know, the ups and downs as much as there was last year. So yeah, just hoping to be healthy the whole year and in a good spot.
Isn't it amazing how people on the outside of this thing will look at it and go, it's just baseball. What do you mean? But it's like the wear and tear. It's the games every single day. How do you prepare your body? It's just, it's more than anything that you'll ever do in the minor leagues.
For sure, yeah. And the minor leagues, you learn a lot, you figure yourself out, but there also isn't that you got to be ready every day pressure and expectation. And so making that adjustment was definitely difficult, but I feel like I got that behind me and now I can just focus on getting people out.
You know, the last 2 days we've talked to a lot of the relievers, and we'll continue to talk to a lot of relievers today, and I'm just so proud of you guys that I keep saying it over and over again. You had the best ERA in all of baseball the last 2 months. Like, no one would have thought you trade one of the best closers in the game, and the bullpen got better. Talk about being down there and the mentality that, as a group, you guys were phenomenal.
Yeah. You don't really expect that, like you said, losing Mason. I mean, arguably, I'll say it, the best arm in baseball. The most electric pitcher, and for us to kind of figure out a way to navigate not having him there was something pretty special, and I think it just boosts everyone's confidence going into this year that, you know, kind of whatever role we fit into, whatever we're needed, that we'll be able to get people out and have success.
So going into this year, what did you work on this off season to prepare you, and what do you want to see yourself do a little bit better in 2026?
Yeah, the biggest thing I was working on this year is just trying to get my body to move a little bit better and more efficiently, and working on mobility and try to not have those days where the fastball is 90, 91, hopefully have a consistent fastball where it's consistently pretty firm. And so that was kind of my goal, is just to fine tune everything and move a little bit better.
So is it more mechanical, or is it more just regular flexibility in the body?
A little bit of both. I think I can move, my mechanics can be tweaked a little bit, but mostly just getting more flexible. I'm a pretty stiff guy, and my lower half isn't very flexible, so just working on that, trying to loosen
I know how you feel.
Loosen up the hammies and everything. The hips are tight, everything's tight down there.
So cold night games are like the worst for you.
Yeah, I'm trying to find sometimes you sit in the bathroom because it's heated, so you just hang out in the bathroom for a little bit to warm up.
Wouldn't it be nice if we had like a jacuzzi down there? You can just get out of the jacuzzi, put your uniform on.
Exactly.
I'm ready to go.
Yeah, that would be sweet.
All right, we've been asking everybody, coolest thing you did this off season that has nothing to do with baseball?
I had the chance to go to Finland.
Wow.
Yeah, and so we were there for almost 10 days, I think, and part of that was spent up in the Arctic Circle. So we were inside the Arctic Circle and got to see the Northern Lights, and it was an amazing experience getting to see that, and something I'll never forget.
Yeah, because the Arctic Circle, that's a whole different part of the earth, right?
Yeah.
It's not like your standard vacation.
Yeah, 2 hours of sunlight about each day, and
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah, it was a wild, crazy experience that people live there every day. And, but cool place, really cool place. Yeah.
Aaron Savali went to Iceland,
Okay.
and when he was there, it was 4 hours of light a day.
Yeah, it's a crazy, and then in the summer it's light year round.
All day.
So,
Yeah.
All day.
So you're a world traveler this off season.
Yeah, kind of. I guess so.
Well, I can tell you what, the bullpen is going to be a huge strength for this team, and you're going to be a big part of it. So thank you for stopping by. Stay healthy in spring. We'll see you back in Sacramento.
All right.
We will get more into Iceland and Sterner. That was fascinating. All right, coming up next, A's and Padres right here on A's Cast. We'll be back on Wednesday at 10 a.m. Thank you, everybody, for listening and watching A's Cast Live. A's Baseball is next.
The time is now. Grab your sunglasses, A's gear, and get ready for some fun in the sun. Spring training is back as the Athletics get ready for the 2026 season. Now's the time to make plans to catch us in Mesa, Arizona, and enjoy the sunshine of your family and friends. Grab your tickets for the best seats at the lowest prices as your green and gold take on the Dodgers, Giants, Cubs, Padres, and more at Hohokam Stadium. Don't wait. Get your tickets at athletics.com/spring. That's athletics.com/spring.
This has been a presentation of The Athletics.